friends. I'm Karen, and this is the Family Food for Moms podcast. We're talking about inspiration for family cooking and dining. Today, we're going to talk about Haloumi cheese. Some people have heard of this and some not. You either know it and use it often because it's delicious, or you haven't really heard about it and are a bit hesitant to try it because it's an unusual cheese. It's one of the only cheeses that's usually eaten cooked, browned on the outside. So let's talk about Haloumi cheese. Haloumi has a rich history that goes back several centuries, kind of from the Eastern Mediterranean region. Traditionally associated with Cyprus from the Mediterranean, but both Greek and Turkish people claim Haloumi as a key part of their culinary heritage. From the medieval period, the earliest written references to a cheese that sounds similar to Haloumi, some people say halloumi, date back to the 10th century in the Byzantine Empire. The name halloumi is said to have derived from the Coptic Egyptian word halum, meaning cheese. So it might even have older connections to Egypt. Then during the Ottoman rule of Cyprus in the 1500s to 1800s, halloumi became widespread throughout the Middle East and then into North Africa. So traditionally it's made from goat's and sheep's milk combined, but sometimes more modern recipes use cow's milk. It's unique in that it's unripened and it's semi-hard. It has a very high melting point, so it can be grilled or fried and it doesn't lose its shape like other cheese does. It's also brined, giving it a salty flavor and then a longer shelf life, which is important in the Mediterranean, especially before refrigeration when it's very hot there. So the method of making halloumi was developed as a practical way to preserve the milk in the region's hot climate. Families or village communities would make halloumi in batches and then store it in brine or wrap it in mint leaves. The mint helped to preserve the cheese and deter mold from growing. These days it's very popular globally in the UK, the EU, the Middle East for its unique texture and versatility. And then it was given the protected designation of origin status in the EU, so now only traditional methods can be officially used to make halloumi and sell it. So let's talk about how it's made. So the mixture of sheep and goat's milk is used and then an enzyme to coagulate the milk called the rennet. Unlike most other cheeses, it doesn't use a starter culture. And then salt would be added, and sometimes it's folded between layers of mint leaves. So the milk would gently be heated to around 32 Celsius or 90 Fahrenheit. Then the rennet would be added to coagulate the milk. No starter culture, as I said. Then it would be left to rest for about half an hour and form a soft curd. The curd would then be cut into small cubes, like mozzarella, to release the whey. And then it's allowed to sit and gently stirred. Then the curd would be heated again to about 38 degrees Celsius or 100 Fahrenheit for another half an hour or a bit longer. And then the curds are left to settle. And then they'd be scooped out and placed into a cheese mold or a muslin-lined basket to drain. Drains the whey. And then lightly pressed to expel more whey and start to shape the cheese. Then this part is unusual for cheese making. The cheese blocks would be cooked in the hot whey until they float. This cooking step gives it its characteristic rubbery texture and also the high melting point. So after this cooking, the cheeses are salted and folded, and then they may be salted by hand or placed in brine. So the halloumi can be stored in the brine or dry salted and kept cool. Traditionally, it's aged for a few days to a few weeks, although it can be eaten fresh. So then how is it used and how is it cooked? It's one of the most versatile cheeses in the kitchen. It's salty, it's chewy, you can do it on the grill. First, let's talk about how it's prepared once it's made. So preparing halloumi is quick, but it's definitely unusual as far as cheese goes. It has a high melting point, as I said, and it holds its shape beautifully when it's cooked. So pan frying, this is the most popular, most common method. I do enjoy this method myself, but I've also done the oven method or grilled. So you would use halloumi and then something like coconut oil or olive oil to cook it in. So you would cut it up into 1 centimeter thick slices. That's about half an inch. Or you can cut it into cubes, but then you need to brown all the sides, depending on what you're going to use it for. You may want to pat it dry if it's been in a brine. Then you would heat a pan over medium heat and you add a tiny bit of your oil. Then as you add the slices to the pan, move them around gently in the oil so they don't stick to the bottom of the pan. So you add your slices or your cubes and then you cook for 1 or 2 minutes per side until it's golden brown and crispy. You may want to add a little bit of salt depending on how salty your halloumi is. I've seen some kinds already quite salty, other kinds need a bit of salt. I also like to add a little bit of lemon juice over it. It's delicious. You can do that when you take it out of the pan or while it's in the pan. So again, make sure your pan is hot enough before you put the halloumi in. If you start with a cold pan, the halloumi starts to melt before it actually gets crispy. So you want a nice hot pan, add the halloumi, cook a little bit on each side, and then you get that nice brown crispy effect. Then grilled halloumi, you preheat your grill and you grill it on each side, or you put it in the oven under the grill. And then again, you can sprinkle a little bit of olive oil and salt and grill each side for a few minutes. Keep a close eye on it, and you'll see it'll sort of start to bubble and look crispy on top. So then you can use it for a number of things. At the end, I'm going to mention a couple of recipes in our Elegant Easy Appetizers cookbook for halloumi. You can use it for a protein substitute. Vegetarians enjoy halloumi. It's a good meat substitute because it adds that something substantial to your salad or to whatever you're eating. So you can do grilled or fried halloumi instead of meat in salads, sandwiches, etc. You can do it on skewers and kebabs. So use the cubed version and intersperse it with vegetables to grill. You can put it as a topping, perhaps on top of a salad or on top of vegetables. Or you can use it inside a wrap or a taco or a pita bread, crumbled or diced with whatever else you're putting in there. For breakfast or brunch, you can serve pieces of halloumi with your eggs or your toast and bacon. It is quite rich, so maybe bacon plus halloumi is a little bit much. It's nice to use it with the egg and toast, though. In Middle Eastern platters, they will add it to breakfast wraps. Then in salads or on top of salads, it adds that salty richness and texture. Or simply as a standalone appetizer with lemon wedges, a dip like sweet chili sauce or hummus. So the first recipe we do in the book is a prosciutto wrapped halloumi stick as an appetizer. So you simply cut up your halloumi into long sticks and you wrap each stick in a piece of prosciutto. And then you pan fry it, as I mentioned, on each side and serve it with a sweet chili sauce dip. That is amazing and my favorite way to do it. The other one is using zucchini or marrow, green marrow, and you slice it with a vegetable peeler into thin strips. Then you steam the strips and mix in a little bit of basil pesto. It shouldn't be over steamed because it will disintegrate. So just steamed until it's nice to eat with a little basil pesto mixed into that zucchini. Then you can also, this part is optional, you can also steam some pieces of red pepper or yellow pepper and mix those up with a little bit of olive oil and salt. So then you've got these two vegetables, and then you grill your halloumi sticks and you put them on top. They taste amazing with just the zucchini, but it's also wonderful with the red pepper. And then those three things together make an amazing appetizer. Bit of lemon juice over the top. Very delicious. Then you can use halloumi in a curry. It won't melt, it'll hold its shape and it has a chewy texture. Mediterranean stews, they use it in those. Halloumi with watermelon is an unusual one. This is a classic Cypriot summer dish. Cold watermelon and warm halloumi slices with a bit of mint and olive oil. Halloumi salad would be just mixed greens, cherry tomatoes, cucumber, olives, and then some cubes of halloumi with a lemon vinaigrette. Grilled halloumi or deep fried halloumi is similar to fries. You can use it as halloumi fries with a dipping sauce. Then I mentioned already wraps or pita breads, warm flatbread stuffed with the grilled halloumi and your other salady ingredients. So it's really nice when it's warm because it adds something to the salad. If you have a cold salad and a little bit of a warm cheese, that's really nice. You can use it in halloumi burgers. So thick slices of grilled halloumi in place of the patty. Or you could have your beef patty with some slices of halloumi on top and add in some roasted red pepper or pesto in there too. In your tacos, you can use the pan-fried halloumi with avocado, with cabbage slaw, and a lime chili dressing is an amazing flavor. Halloumi pasta. You can toss your fried halloumi cubes into the pasta with tomatoes and olives, fresh herbs, fresh basil. Halloumi shakshuka, chunks of halloumi to a tomato-based shakshuka, and even to a vegetable stir fry. So you would cook the halloumi first, brown it on each side, and then you saute your vegetables and add back the cubes of halloumi with a splash of soy sauce and some sesame seeds. And then halloumi stuffed peppers or mushrooms. So you cook up your halloumi, you bake your vegetables, mix them together, perhaps add a grain like quinoa, and then stuff your mushrooms with that. Delicious. A Turkish breakfast spread is a great way to enjoy your halloumi. So the highlight of the dish is your grilled or your fried halloumi. So you would slice it into your slices and cook it. And then on the side, you could have a fresh vegetables platter with sliced tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, radishes. You could have an marinated olives bowl, a bread selection with sesame bread or tossed pita bread. You could have some sweet jams or spreads, tahini, some other cheeses, and some kind of eggs, boiled eggs, phyllo pastry rolls filled with cheese, and Turkish black tea, all served at the same time in little bowls, an elegant spread. Turkish cuisine also uses halloumi in a pastry, so a savory pastry made with phyllo dough can be filled with grated halloumi cheese. So you would grate it before you cook it, and that would be a very different experience, different texture. Then you would add a bit of mint or parsley and then bake the pastry until it's done. Then Kibris koftesi, if that's how it's said, is a Cypriot-style meatball recipe with grated halloumi mixed into the potato and herb mixture. And that can be done with or without the meat. Also, there's a Turkish flatbread, which can be topped with halloumi and tomato, peppers, etc., and sometimes egg. Then from the Greek side of things, Haloumi saganaki. So this is a twist on the famous cheese saganaki dish. And it's basically thick slices of halloumi which are pan-fried till golden and crispy and served with lemon and then with a crusty bread. Or halloumi with ladera, which is vegetables in olive oil. So it would be served with a Greek vegetable stew like roasted vegetables in olive oil or green beans in tomato sauce. And then the halloumi adds that salty richness and the protein to these vegetable dishes. The halloumi meze plate would be Greek mezedas spread, olives, dolmadas, which are those stuffed vine leaves, tzatziki, pita breads, roasted peppers, and of course the grilled halloumi, a perfect appetizer or a light dinner. And then the spanakopita, so the spinach pie, but the halloumi is added to the usual feta spinach filling to give it extra texture and saltiness. Halloumi pita wraps, so grilled halloumi stuffed into a warm pita bread with tomato, onion, lettuce, cucumber, and then tzatziki or hummus. And then halloumi pasta with Greek flavors. Pasta tossed with the grilled halloumi cubes that have been cooked. Most of these dishes, except for the grated halloumi, will be with cooked halloumi. There's cherry tomatoes, spinach, olives, capers, and a bit of olive oil in that pasta. So it always goes well with olive oil, lemon juice, and salt, and that's all you need. But it's sometimes paired with a bit of mint. And then the dips, things like tzatziki, hummus. I like the sweet chili sauce. And then vegetables and salady ingredients like the tomato, the cucumber, the arugula, grilled vegetables, etc. So try it on its own first. Cook up some in a pan, get it nice and crispy and golden, and then try some in your oven. You can even do it on a bake setting. Just watch until it looks ready. And try both of those. You may find you enjoy one more than the other. You prefer one style. Find your favorite style and then try it with a few different dips. Try it with sweet chili sauce. Try it with simply lemon juice sprinkled on top before you eat it. And try it with different meals. Try it with a salad. Try it with a breakfast. Try it in a dinner or with some steamed vegetables like the zucchini and red pepper. And find your favorite ways to have it. Maybe try the prosciutto wrapped one. And you may find that you have something to add to your dinner rotation that you really enjoy that enhances your salads, enhances your side dishes, and even your main dish. Halloumi is truly one of the most amazing cheeses out there. It's unique, and most people haven't actually tried it. So why don't you try it? Use it for one of your new family fun night appetizers or just a fun family dinner time with something new. I hope you're brave enough to try. Let me know what you think. If you'd like to see our recipe book, it's on familyfoodformoms.com. It's called Elegant Easy Appetizers. And all the appetizers are simple with 5 ingredients, and they're easy to make for a family dinner, but they look elegant and they add some class to your meal. Thanks for listening. I hope you have a fabulous week. I'll see you next time.